crime scene investigators. Today we will be talking about the Greyhound bus case. Disclaimer: this case contains details that may be disturbing. This is for educational purposes only. All details are collected from the internet and other documentaries to be placed in one video. If you need, please click off this video, as the video contains details of murder, cannibalism, mental illness, and other tough topics. Tim McLean, the murder victim. Tim was a young man, 22 years old, who grew up in Winnipeg, Canada. Well, he grew up outside of it, actually. He was an athlete. His best friend is Tiffany LaBelle. Tim was said to be the sweetest person ever. A friend even said he loved people. His mother and father loved and adored him, as they should. They were so proud of him. He was happy he found a job that he enjoyed, which was working in a carnival. The name was Western Canada Carnival Circus. His best friend told him to pack your bag for a week. I don't know how long it would be. Along those lines, of course. It was said to be a group of people traveling together. His father and stepmom adored him. He wanted to be famous, his stepmom said, which was very interesting to learn about. And he wasn't clear on what he wanted to be famous for, his stepmom also added. And this is our story. Tim was going home to Winnipeg because he had plans to move to Colombia. He was just chilling on the bus with his friend Aaron. He was also with his friend John. He was on a ferry to leave the island. He wanted to go back to the island someday. In July 2008, he decided he wanted to go home and move. His friends had offered to buy a plane ticket, but he was more comfortable with the bus. Tim was 22 when he passed away. He was mostly excited to move and see his family. The killer decided to board the bus. He wanted to go to Winnipeg too. The killer decided to stay and sold his laptop. The killer got on Tim's bus and sat in the front. The people on the bus were super tired by that point. The killer moved seats next to Tim, and the killer claims it was because Tim smiled and said, "Hi, how are you doing?" The killer had a roll of toilet paper and was drinking. A customer from the bus, or a bus rider, had said that the killer had an obsession with the toilet paper. He would put it under his chin and drink. And the killer was also said to be chanting things. It was dark when this started happening, and the TV was just going. He was said to be still like awake and doing weird stuff. And people were sleeping by that point, well, most people. And it was said that the killer was fixated on Tim as he was sleeping. And then after a while, the killer took out a knife and turned to Tim and started stabbing. A guy named Steve started screaming to stop the bus, someone's getting stabbed. It took a while for everyone to realize what was happening. It took a lot of people to get pulled over. People were trying to escape, and a mother and kids were stuck behind the killer. Steve's wife was also stuck, and they all climbed over the seats and got out. Everyone was affected, and a truck driver pulled over to help. He saw the look of terror on their faces. A woman told him someone was being stabbed to death on the bus. The truck driver had a metal bar, and tried to secure the door. He looked at them with an empty face. The killer looked at them with an empty face. The killer also knelt down and beheaded Tim. The truck driver was tempted to hurt him. Like, he was so angry. And the killer had Tim's hand in one and the knife in the other, and the killer walked up to the door like it was nothing and just showed off the dude's head. Like, hey, look at my prize. Which was kind of messed up. And the killers were able to see the head, and he held it like a prize. Like, he just didn't care how people were being affected. He was like, yo, I got this man's head. He also dismembered the body, tore the eyes out, the heart and ears, and a huge chunk of the heart was missing. Even the eyes were missing. The killer was also eating the body. Like, the police and the SWAT team watched him do it, and they referred to him as Badger. And when the killer tried to escape, well, they caught him. And when they went on the bus to investigate the next morning, Tim's body was everywhere. Tim's mom was making dinner when this horrible event was all over the place in the US, Canada, all over the world pretty much. And while she was making dinner, as she was telling her story in the interview, she said she was making dinner. They prayed for the family of the young man, because all they knew from the police was that it was a young man that was killed, not knowing it was Tim at all. And his mom even said that, wow, that could have been my son. Like, not knowing it was her son. And, well, Tim's dad got Tim's favorite meal, which is chicken, and he went home, and Tim's friends were there, and they broke the news. They showed him on the computer. And he called his ex-wife, Tim's mom, and told her the news. Like, it's a high chance that's our son. And she was like, don't say that. Like, I can't take it. And she was in excruciating pain after she heard that. And, well, she started screaming no, and she couldn't handle the news. Like, her stomach was upset. She had this bad feeling. And, well, it still continues to torture the people on the bus. And the bus company didn't even pay for mental health services. It was the killer that they paid for. And above all that, like, all the company did for the victims of watching this happen were just taking the Walmart to get new clothes and keep for the blood on it, and not how they're mentally doing. And a lot of them say they're still traumatized, and including Tim's family, like, they're still traumatized because they lost a loved one in such a horrible way. And the friends and everyone who knew Timothy Richard McLean were heartbroken, still affected. The world is still affected from this terrible event. Even the killer himself. He has a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist has asked him questions, and he very much regrets what he done. And he's said to be a schizophrenic, and, well, he wasn't in the right mind of the crime, and they have him in facilities to get better, and they want to release him, but it doesn't change how terrible Tim went. Anyways, that's the story of Timothy Richard McLean, or also the Greyhound bus victim. If you enjoyed, please tell me in the comments what I could do better. And that's pretty much the story. I'll leave the links to the interviews for you guys, because that's where I got most of the information from, and articles and stuff. It took a lot of research for this one, but it was just so hard to read. And even on Reddit, man, they have pictures of the body, and I saw them, and it was disturbing. I highly recommend you don't go on Reddit. I was just looking up, who was Tim McLean, and it popped up, and I wish I hadn't clicked into it. But a lot of people described Tim as being very loving, friendly, and may his soul rest in peace. Like, I tried to make this more about the victim than the killer, because the killer's story is irrelevant. This is about the victim. Like, who cares about the killer? He just took a life. So, thanks for listening, guys, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope you find happiness in your day today or night. Goodbye, guys. Like and subscribe, please. And see you next time.